Hello everyone, how's it going? I'm Matheus Beck, I'm a software QA engineer, and in this video I'm going to show you how to write automation testing using Playwright, TypeScript, and page object model. So first of all, this is the Playwright website. If you go here on Docs, you see the entire documentation. I highly recommend you to take a look on it. The website that we're going to automate is a fake bank called Parabank from Parasoft. It has a bunch of different functionalities. It doesn't actually store data for too long. And the website is a little buggy, but it's a good website because it has a lot of different features. So we'll be able to test a bunch of different things. And also we're going to use this faker JavaScript library to generate random username, password, and also account details like address, phone number, location, etc. So first things first, here on Docs installation, we can see how to install Playwright. Let me copy this. And here I have already created an empty folder and opened on Visual Studio Code. I highly recommend you to use Visual Studio Code because of this cool extension that they have here called Playwright Test for VS Code. Has a bunch of things that will make our life easier. Okay, but of course you can also use another IDE. Doesn't matter. First of all, make sure that you have Node installed on your machine. Okay, I have here. And then you can simply type npm init playwright at latest to install latest Playwright version as a development dependency. Here it's going to ask if you want to use TypeScript or JavaScript. Just hit enter on TypeScript. Where to put your end-to-end tests? I want to create a folder called end-to-end. Add a GitHub Actions workflow. Yes, it will make it easier for us to run our tests in a CI. Install Playwright browser. Also, I'm going to hit yes. And as you can see here, it already created our package.json and it is installing Playwright for us. It has already added the Playwright as development dependency. And here it has created a bunch of things, okay? It has created our Playwright config.ts where we can configure a lot of things. Also, it has created test examples with a bunch of tests that you can use for reference. Right now, we're not going to use this, so I'm going to start by deleting this. It has created our node modules folder with all the dependencies, including Playwright. And also, it has created the end-to-end folder that I've requested. Also, the Playwright YAML, so we can run this on GitHub Actions. And here on this example.spec.ts, it has already 2 tests configured. So to make sure everything is working fine, you can simply run the tests with this command npx playwright test. Okay, so let me run this. By default, it will run headless, and also it's going to use 3 browsers in parallel to run these tests. Okay, so we have 2 tests multiplied by 3 browsers. We will have 6 tests in total. They're all passing. We can also verify, for example, here, the report by using this command. So all the tests are here. We can open them, for example, and check everything inside, what was executed. And this is a very easy way to see the reports on Playwright, okay? As I mentioned, we're gonna use this library. So if you open it, fakerjs.dev, click here on get started, you can see how to install this as development dependency. I'm also gonna install this. I'm gonna hit Ctrl+C to quit the report, and let me install the faker.js. Okay, cool. What we are going to do here is to first generate our tests without using page object model. And for that, I'm also going to use something cool called Codegen that will automatically generate our tests. And after that, we are going to implement the page object models, okay? So here on this icon, we can see the Playwright tests, okay? As I've mentioned, we can run them using this tool. You can select which test do you want to run. If you want to show the browser or headless, you can simply check this box here. If you want to run by the command line the test using the UI mode, you can use this parameter here, --UI. But for this tutorial, we are going to use the Visual Studio Code extension, okay? So let me show you how to use the code generator, okay? There is this button here, record new and record at cursor. Let me put my cursor here. Let me start by deleting what's inside this test, okay? And let me click here on record at cursor. So Playwright Codegen is starting. It has opened this page. So let me expand this and put it side by side so you guys can see what's happening. Okay. Now we have Codegen on one side and our Visual Studio Code on the other side. So the first thing that we are going to do is to access this register page, okay? So let me copy this. For our first test will be to create a new account here. So I'm going to use this browser, I'm gonna access this, and as you can see, it automatically generates this command for us, page.goto, okay? And now I'm going to click here on first name. I'm just gonna put test on the last name, address, and then we're going to replace this with the faker library. As you can see, it's already automatically generating the methods for us. Test, zip code, 123, 231, phone number, doesn't matter, social security number, username. Let me just, I accidentally click outside. It has generated this here. We're gonna edit this later, okay? Let me put username test, password 123, confirm 123. As you can see here, I'm gonna click on register. And now it has showing for us the success page, okay? Now I'm gonna click here on a search text because we want to verify if this message appears, welcome test, which is our username. It has generated an expect here for us. And I'm gonna do this again. I'm gonna click here on a search text to assert that this message also appears. I'm gonna click here on the accept button, and okay, it has generated a bunch of things for us. Let's continue using Codegen, and then we're gonna refactor our test, okay? Let's click here on open new account, okay? And here we can create a new account for us. Can be of two types, checking or saving. Let's keep as checking. And it says that a minimum of $100 must be deposited. We need to select an account. Let's just keep the default, okay? So I'm just gonna click here on open new account. And well, internal error has occurred. Sometimes these will happen because the website, like I mentioned, is a little bit buggy. So let me try one more time. For example, come in here, open new account, and then click here. Okay, it worked fine this time. And now let's do the same thing. Like let's assert that this has appeared. Okay. Okay. And then let's do the same thing here. Assert text. Congratulations, your account is now opened. And one more time for this other text, your new account number, this one. Perfect. Okay. Let's do our one more test, which is going to be to come here in transfer funds. And then we're gonna transfer, for example, $100 from one account to the other account that we've just created. Then I'm gonna click here on transfer, and then transfer complete. Let's come here on a search text and expect this text to be visible. Okay, all of them. Perfect. Okay, now I'm gonna click here to stop recording, and also I'm going to close this. Okay, and let's start refactoring our tests. As you can see, it has generated a bunch of things in just a single test. The Codegen is good, but of course not perfect. For example, to fill these locators, we don't have to click on them. We can simply call the fill method, because this fill method will automatically click on the locator for us. So for example, all of these we can delete. Okay, let me do this. We don't need this. Of course, we need this because we're clicking to register. and we expect the welcome and the message that says that our account was created with success. Okay, so this would represent one test, right? Let me rename this to registered at Powerbank. Okay, now this part where we click on open new account, and to here, for example, account opened, congratulations, your account is now open, your new account number. We can took this from here, and let's put in another test. For example, here I'm going to call this open a new bank account. Okay, and then we're gonna click to open the new account. We don't actually need this. Okay, I accidentally click on here. We are just going to basically click on the left menu button that says open new account, and then on the button saying open new account. Okay, so just need to do this, and we're going to expect this text to be true. And finally, let me copy this and delete this. Our last test will be the transfer funds. Okay, so let me copy all of this and let me paste it here. So we are clicking on the transfer funds, and then, as I mentioned, we don't have to click before filling because fill already does this for us. To account ID, of course, we have to put this as dynamic variables, because if we run this right now, it won't work since the next account that we open won't have this number. Okay, we'll take care of this. Then we're gonna click on transfer and then click. Then we expect to see transfer complete. $100 has been transferred from one account to another account. We need to make these dynamic variables. Okay, but this would be like the structure of our tests. Okay, so what can we do now? Let's start by applying the page object models here. Okay, so instead of writing the tests like this, we are going to create a folder here called pages, and then we are going to have 3 different files here. One for the register page, one for the open new account page, and another one for the transfer funds page. So let me start by creating the register page.ts, one more for the open new account page.ts, and last one for the transfer funds page.ts. Okay. So starting with the register page, what we're going to do here is first we're going to import the locator, the page, and the expect from at Playwright test. Okay, because we're going to use this, and we are going to use also the faker library. Okay, so let me put this, import this from faker.js. Perfect. Now we are going to start by exporting our class called register page, and inside this class we'll have the locators and the methods related to this page. Okay, so I'm going to start by typing read only page of type page, and then we are going to have all the locators that we have defined in our spec file, like first name input of type locator. Okay, I mean this one, we're gonna have a last name, address, street, city, state, zip code. We're gonna create all of this in here, but first of all we're gonna define them before our constructor. Okay, so gain a little bit time, let me simply copy this from another project. So we have this first name input, last name input, street input, city, state, zip code, phone number, SSN input, username, password, repeated password, and finally the register button. Okay, this is everything that we have defined here. Okay, now we are gonna create our constructor. Okay, so constructor, we will receive the page, and then we're gonna start by typing this dot page receives the page, and then this dot first name input equal, and then we're gonna take it from here. Okay, the locator is this one, right? So that's what we are going to do. Let me copy this from here. Let me paste it here, page.locator, and then we have this ID here. Of course, this is not the only way of doing this. This was automatically generated by Codegen, but since this element has an ID, we could simply put hash symbol here and write like this. This hash symbol represents that this is an ID of an element, okay, customer.firstname. And then we would do the same thing for all of the others. For example, this dot last name input equal page.locator. And then what's the locator? We have this ID, right? Let me copy only the ID, like I mentioned, from here. And then let me add a hash sign before the name. Perfect. And then we would do for all of the other elements. Okay, so we don't waste our time. Let me do this for you guys. So I've took all of this and I have defined it in here. Okay, everything. The only one that was a bit different was the button. Okay, as you can see, page.locator for all, but the button is a get by role. We can get the button using the role, which is button. Okay, and that's pretty much it for our constructor. Now we have to define other things. For example, this page.goto, it won't be here. Okay, it will be defined in our class register page. So I'm gonna type here async goto to create this method, and then I'm gonna simply copy this and paste it here. Okay, I'm gonna, instead of saying page.goto, I have to say this.page.goto. And then we can start, for example, using what we have created there on this file, so you guys can see how it's gonna look like. For example, we're gonna import the register page from register page, and then we are gonna say here, for example, const register page equal new register page. Okay, and then we can simply say register page dot go to. It's the same as we had before. So let's continue with the methods that we need. The other method that we need is the fill form. So here we have all of these fill actions. We're gonna create a fill form method here, saying fill form. Then I'm gonna type wait this dot first name input dot fill, and here instead of saying test, I'm going to use the faker library. So I'm going to generate a fake random first name. So I'm going to say faker dot person dot first name, and every time we run our tests, it's going to be a new first name. And then I'm going to keep doing this for all the other ones, like last name input dot fill, and then we have a different faker method here, faker dot person dot last name, for example. And then I'm going to continue doing this for all the other ones. Let me copy from the other project so it's faster for us. So we have faker.location.street address, faker.location.city, faker.location.state, faker.location.zip code, faker.phone.number, and faker.string.numeric9 to generate a random number of 9 digits to represent the social security number. Okay, so by doing that, it means that we can come here, for example, and instead of writing all of this, we can simply say register page dot fill form. Okay, this is how the page object models work. So let's continue with the other methods that we need. I'm going to create fill credentials, okay, form. It could be here inside this, but sometimes we get an error saying that the username already exists and we're gonna implement a retry mechanism here. So that's why I'm gonna type here fill credentials, and then I'm gonna do the same thing, like await this dot username input dot fill, and this method specifically will receive two parameters. Okay, the username is going to be a string, and the password that's also going to be a string. Cool. Dot fill username, then we're going to do the same thing for the password and the repeated password. Okay, nice. Now we have the submit form button. Okay, sync submit form, await this dot register button dot click, and finally the async verify account creation, and we're gonna pass the username, and we are going to basically took this, okay, from here, and we are going to create it in here. Okay, so let me start by defining a new variable called header text. It's going to be await page.locator h1.text content, because we want the text, sorry, this is this point dot page. Okay, and also we're gonna see the right panel text. It's going to be await this dot page dot locator dot right panel dot text content again. Perfect. And now let's verify with an if they exist. Okay, header text exists and the right panel text exists. We're gonna say await expect header text dot includes now welcome, then my dynamic variable called username. Okay, then we're gonna expect this to be true. Cool. And then we're gonna basically do the same thing for the right panel. So here I'm gonna say right panel text, and we hope this to include this text here to be true. Okay, don't need this anymore. Perfect. Now let me show you what I was mentioning about the error. Okay, for example, let me put test and then click on register. Okay, I was able to create an account. Let me log out. Let me click on register again. Let me create again. Now if I put test again, see, this username already exists. And this happens a lot of times. Even if you put a completely random username with a lot of digits, sometimes this happens. So we are gonna create a retry mechanism to avoid this kind of situation, okay? So let me grab this locator here. It has an ID saying customer username.errors, okay? And I'm gonna add one more attribute, one more locator for us here, okay? It's going to be also read only, and it's going to say user already exists error of type locator, and then again this dot user already exists error equal page dot locator, and then hash sign customer dot username dot errors. And then finally we need to create one more method, okay, to verify if this error is visible or not. So for that we can simply say async is error visible. It's going to return true or false, and then we can say return await this dot username already exists error dot is visible. Okay, cool. Now we have everything ready for our register page class. Let's come here and update with what we need to deregister. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is to define a maximum retry mechanism. Okay, so I'm gonna say 3 times. I'm gonna create a variable called max retries equal 3. So we're gonna try to create a new account up to 3 times. And I'm gonna start by declaring the password that we're going to use by saying faker.internet.password. Okay, let's import faker from here. Okay, cool. So next thing that we're going to do is to create a for loop. It's gonna say, so with that, we are gonna try this 3 times. Okay, so first thing that we're going to do is to navigate to the page. Okay, fill the form. Let's define a username. Actually, let me put this in here because we might need to try with a different username, right? So let username equal faker.internet.username. And then we are gonna say await. Here it's missing the await. This is also missing the await because this is all asynchronous. Await register page dot fill credentials. I'm gonna now define the username and the password, and then await register page dot submit form. And this is a very important thing, that is the page dot wait for load stage. This is a method, so we want to wait for the network idle, which means no more requests being processed, before verifying if the error happened or if the account was created successfully, because everything is going to happen so fast that Playwright won't wait to see if the expects are going to return true or false. Okay, so this is very important. And now we're gonna say if register page dot is error visible, then we are going to simply continue. Okay, which means we're gonna skip this and go to the next iteration. Okay, but if this is not true, then let's see if the account was created with success by using the verify account creation method, passing the username, and then that's pretty much it. Now we can break our loop. Okay, we don't need this anymore, and this is pretty much done for us. Okay, so let me comment this and let me run this just to see if everything is working fine. Let's see. Yeah, it's working fine. Fortunately, the error didn't happen, but if you keep trying, the error would happen sometime. Okay, now one important thing is that for each test, Playwright will open a new instance. Okay, but we are creating just one test to register. So what we need to do is to save this state. Otherwise, when we run the open new bank account or the transfer funds, an error would happen because it would open a browser which was not authenticated. Okay, so this is something that Playwright does very well. If you come here into the documentation and then go here into guides authentication, you will find this. So basically what we need to do is to save the state, okay, after authentication. So they suggest us to create folder called Playwright with file called .auth and put them on the .ignore file. We can simply copy this command, come here on the terminal and run this. Okay, so as you can see, it is already in our git ignore. And also if you come here on Playwright auth, we can see this as a folder. Now what we need to do is to create a new file here called user.json that will save the state of our user for us. Okay, let's keep looking at it. Basically what we need to do is to write this, okay, this const auth file to define the auth file, and then use the page.context.store state to save the state after we register into this JSON file. Okay, so let's do this. Let me copy this. Let's go back here on the register page. Here we are going to start this by saying const of file copath.join. Let me import the path, import path from path. Okay, that's it. And then finally, like it mentions here, we need to use this store state method. So after we run our tests, we are going to save this context into the user.json file. Okay, now let's run again and see. Also, there's one more thing left. We need to configure this in the Playwright config file. Okay, so as you can see here on the define config, it has created a setup object, and that's what we also need to do. So let me copy this. Let me go to the playwright config.ts. Okay, and here, as you can see inside projects, we are going to add this setup. So this is what we need for us. And also we need to add this storage state for each browser. Okay, so let's add this storage state for each browser. It's going to be here, here, and here. And one more thing that we need is this attribute dependencies called setup. Okay, so we need to put this in here, here, and finally here. And then if we come here and run our test, as you can see, this is empty. So let's run. Let me run in all browsers to see if everything is working fine for all the 3 browsers. Okay, I should put this as an empty JSON, otherwise it throws an error. Let me try again. Perfect. As you can see, the error happens, and well, it didn't retry for some reason. So let's investigate it. Okay, as you can see, the error happened again, but it's not retrying. So let's see. Okay, so the error is that our locator was actually not exactly right. Okay, if we come here on the inspect, as you can see, it has dots, but we need to escape those dots. Okay, so like we did on all of those. So we actually need to put backslash here and backslash here. So now we should be good to go. Let's see. Okay, worked fine. It's opening a new browser. Also worked fine. Yeah, it's working fine. We are not seeing the retry mechanism, but we'll see soon. Okay, now if you come here to the user.json, we can see the session was stored. Now we can run all of our tests, because after this one, the register at Parabank, when the second test executed, it will see this user.json file. Okay, that's cool. Let me come here and rename this to parabank.auth.setup.spec.ts. Okay, and let me create, let me duplicate this, and for this one we are gonna say parabank.operations.spec.ts. Cool. Now this one will always be executed first because of this dot setup that we have defined here, and also here on the Playwright config. Okay, this is very important. Okay, now let me remove this from here. Okay, this is looking nice. Sorry, I did this in the wrong place. Let me come here to the auth setup. Let me remove this from here. Okay, cool. Let me save this. Now it's looking nice. And now we don't want this here anymore. We don't, we also won't use this auth file for these ones. So let me open this again, uncomment this. And this one will be the open a new bank account, and this one will be the transfer funds between on banking accounts. Okay. So here I'm gonna start by creating two variables, okay? The new account ID and the from account ID. As I've mentioned, this needs to be dynamic, so that's why we are creating these two variables here. And also, I am going to write a test before each, okay? And then I'm gonna pass an async function with the page object inside, and then arrow function await page dot go to, and then let me put this in here. So before we execute each test, we can open the page that we need. Okay, we could also put this inside the open new account page or transfer funds. It would be the same method defined twice. It's up to you. Okay. So now what we are going to have here is open new bank account. So I'm gonna start by typing account page equal new open new account page. I can import this here. Okay. Open new account page, open new account page. And now I'm gonna do the same thing for the transfer funds page from transfer funds page. They are throwing error because I didn't create them yet. Okay, let's continue. Let me first write everything that we need here. So I'm gonna say account page dot go to, because I'm gonna have this method there. I'm gonna also say await account page dot select account type. Then I'm gonna put 1 because we want to select the first option that appears. Page dot wait for load state, the same thing that we did for the other test. It's important before you verify if everything worked before verifying if everything worked as expected, you need to make sure that no requests have been made into the website. Okay, now await account page dot submit account form. I'm gonna say new account ID equals await account page dot get new account ID and account page dot verify account creation using the new account ID. Okay, now let's go here to the open new account page. Let me start by maybe copying this from here and putting here. It's going to be the open new account page. Okay, and instead of these locators, of course, we are gonna have different ones. So let me start by the open new account link, and actually let me copy the other ones so we don't waste too much time here. So we would have the account type select, the open account button, the new account ID, the account opened heading, the success message, and the new account message. Okay, and then for the constructor, we would have something like this. I forgot this. Okay. Okay, cool. Now we have defined all of our elements. Our go-to is going to be simply this dot open account page, open account link dot click, and then we need the select account type, which receives the account type as a string. Then I'm gonna say await this dot account type select dot select option account type. Okay, let's continue. We need the submit account form. It's gonna pretty much be an await this dot open account button dot click. we're gonna have the get new account ID that is gonna say await this dot new account ID dot sorry, that is going to be the return await this dot new account ID dot text context. And finally, the verify account creation, new account ID, and then I'm gonna have this. Expect the account opened heading to be visible, expect the success message to be visible, new account message text. We expect the new account message text to contain the new account ID. Okay, don't need this anymore. And that's pretty much it for this one. We're not gonna use the faker here. Okay, so that's it. Let's see in our operations. And as you can see, it's throwing an error here. You should be select account type, and here I'm also mistyped submit. Okay, now this should work fine. We are not gonna need this path here. And now the transfer funds between on banking accounts. Let me start by copying this, pasting here. This is going to be the transfer funds page. Okay, and then we are gonna have different locators. It's going to be this one, the page is missing. So we're gonna have the transfer funds link, the amount input from account ID, to account select, transfer button, transfer complete heading, and transfer success message. And now pretty much everything that we have defined here, all these locators, I am gonna define them here, okay, on the transfer page funds. Sorry. Now we have the transfer funds link, amount input from account ID. Okay. Now, instead of go to the open account link, we're gonna go to the transfer funds link. Okay. We are also gonna have a method called fill transfer details. I'm gonna say amount string to account ID string. Okay, and then we're gonna have this inside amount input dot fill amount that we want to transfer. I'm gonna select the option, and then to account select to account ID, which is the string. Okay, we're gonna have a submit transfer that's gonna say await this dot transfer button dot click, and then instead of get new account ID, I'm gonna have the get from account ID. That is going to be this dot from account ID dot locator option checked dot text content, and finally a verify transfer success that will receive these attributes here, and we are simply gonna say expect transfer complete heading to be visible and expect transfer success message to contain the amount that has been transferred from one account to the other account. And then finally we can come here to the test itself, and first thing that we're going to do now is to add a test.skip. Okay, because if this new account ID is not defined when you try to open a new bank account, doesn't make sense to test these transfer funds between on banking accounts, because you would need at least two accounts to make a transfer. Okay, so if the account ID equals to null or new account ID equals to undefined, then we're gonna skip with the following message: skipping test because new account ID is not set. Here I'm missing to equals. Okay. Now, if new account ID was defined, then we can do our test, which is going to be const transfer page equal new transfer funds page, passing page, await transfer page dot go to go to the page, let transfer amount to be, for example, 100. Can change this from account ID. It's going to be await transfer. Sorry, mistyped here. Transfer page dot get from account ID. Await transfer page dot field transfer details. Transfer amount new account ID. Await. Now the same thing from here. Await page dot wait for load state, and finally we can say transfer page dot submit transfer, await transfer page dot verify transfer success, transfer amount from account ID, new account ID. Actually, this should be okay, should be good. Cool. We don't need the faker. And now there's only one thing left, which is, for example, since we're gonna run this in multiple browsers, we need to clean these every time before running our tests. Okay, this is a very important step. So I'm gonna add this here on the, let me save this, on the auth.setup. I'm gonna write before each that is gonna say, let me import the fs file to hand files, fs library to hand files. So this is gonna pretty much verify if this file exists or not, and then it's going to create the file with defined as an open empty JSON, okay? And then it's gonna clear the authentication file before test. It's gonna log this for us. So now let's see if everything is working fine. We now have 2 operations and 1 test to register. Let's run all of them. Let me put just 1 browser and see if everything is working fine. As you can see, cleared authentication file before test. Now this is empty, and now it's opening and doing the tests for us. Looks like it didn't click on the transfer. Let me take a look here on the operations. Okay, actually there was one thing missing here on the transfer funds page. Here on the field transfer details, it raised a timeout error because here on the get from account ID, we actually need to wait for this located from account ID to be visible. Okay, so I'm gonna type this method here, wait for, and now we should be good to go. Let me try one more time. Let me close this and let me click here on run. Created the account, open the new account. Okay, actually what's missing is here on the open new account page, when we get the new account ID, this is not waiting for the element to be completely loaded. So we need to put an await here that says new account ID dot wait for. Okay, so that's why this when it tries to select the option to account ID, it doesn't find it. Okay, now we should be good to go. Let me run this one more time. Let's see. Okay, username already exists. As you can see, it tried 2 times, 3 times. On the 3rd try, it worked. That's good. Now opening a new account and finally transferring from one account to another. And as you can see, 3 tests passed. We have applied page object models, and we also have created 3 different tests with a setup, saving the state after registering. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. I hope you find this useful. I hope this can help you somehow. And thank you once again, and see you next time.